Bring in Hassan Khannenje in the Kenyan capital, Nairobi. He is the director of Horn International Institute for Strategic Studies. Great to have you here with us on TRT World. You know, about a few months ago, there was news that the Sudanese army has made significant gains in major parts of Sudan. And at the time, I remember many experts saying that those gains could possibly mean the end of the war, possibly mean a victory for the Sudanese army. But here we are today. The paramilitary forces have seized control of this crucial city of Al Fasher. So let me ask you, how big of a setback is this for the Sudanese army?
I think the capture of Al Fasher is significant, and it actually marks a dramatic shift in terms of the momentum and a massive blow to the government, or at least to the Sudanese armed forces. And the reason is because I think the perception created following the fall of Khartoum that this is going to spill over, it was actually a stillbirth. And it's something that did not factor in the complexity of the conflict. Now, what this does is it consolidates, it helps RSF to consolidate their hold, especially in the entire Darfur region. But in essence, it contributes to what we are seeing as increasing balkanization and perhaps a de facto separation of the regions in Sudan, which is going to make the conflict extremely intractable and extremely difficult to resolve.
In terms of what does the future hold for the country, what do you think is the likely outcome given the current circumstances? A victory for the Sudanese army, or perhaps a protracted conflict between the two sides, or would you say a victory for the RSF?
The way things appear right now is there seem to be a strategic balance of forces in terms of the ability to inflict damage on each other. No party, either the RSF, neither the RSF nor the SAF, actually commands the ability to be able to defeat the other. But the conflict hasn't reached the hearting stalemate yet. In where there's a calculation that perhaps continued fighting is not going to be very helpful. There's still a calculation by both parties that they could still be able to pull it off militarily, which of course is not exactly feasible. And so what this does, it creates, of course, new momentum for RSF, but also it complicates the situation, both the humanitarian crisis as well as the ability of diplomacy to be able to take hold.
And how long before you think we see a direct involvement by the American President Donald Trump when it comes to mediation?
We know that part of the U.S.-led process had brought to fore a number of things, with regard to recognizing that there is no military solution, but also the need for countries, especially in the Gulf, to be able to remain engaged. And we do not know how long that's going to take because Donald Trump is already prioritizing, of course, other things. However, I think because of what is happening, there's a likelihood that in the next few months, perhaps before the end of the close of the year, that the Americans may again summon of their partners who are involved to re-engage. Now, to the extent to which they're going to be successful, of course, the jury is still out there. But we cannot exactly determine, considering what is happening both in Washington as well as the problems that are taking place in Europe and elsewhere in the Middle East.
Hassan Khannenje, thanks very much for talking to me here on TRT World. I really appreciate your taking out the time.